are looking for ways to grow our business. And in today's session, what I'm really excited about talking to you about is video, is talking about not only how to create videos, how to set up videos, and how to make the video process a little bit easier for many of us out there, but also ways that you can make it unique. Also, ways that you can expand your reach by using different techniques to help make video a little bit more of a creative playground for many of us out there. So what I want to do as we're going through today's slides is I'm going to walk you through kind of the process. I'm going to walk you through the approach and ways that I recommend when I'm teaching people to either get started with video or when they're ready to take their video to the next level. And the reason I want to go into kind of this background is for many of you that may know me or have been in my sessions before, what I love to do is I love to talk about how to build and grow successful businesses. So a lot of these webinars, I come from the standpoint of having really over 11 years of experience in running and managing my own business, being vegan myself, obviously for over 15 years. But what I really want to, help you with today and make sure you walk away with are actionable tools, actionable things that you can do in your business to not only grow your business, but ways that you can make this overall process of managing video, this overall process of creating content just a little bit easier. Okay. Now, where I like to start, when I talk about video, when I talk about the concept of creating unique and exciting videos, it all starts from what is your purpose? Why are you using video? What is kind of the approach? What is your reason and purpose behind it? And I think a lot of times when we start with a project, sometimes we start with looking at what other people have done. We've seen what someone else's videos look like on YouTube, or we saw a cool video that we liked in Facebook. And then we say, I want to make that. And I want to resist the urge of just looking at what someone else did and thinking that you're going to do what they do. I want you to kind of take a step back anytime you're working on video. So if any of you who are new to doing video, or maybe you've done video before and you're ready to make it a little bit different, what I want you to do at this stage is I want you to think about, what is your purpose? What are you trying to do in this format? How are you trying to help and support people? How are you going to ultimately make this a process where someone can join in, where someone can literally be able to use your video content to help them achieve a goal or an accomplishment? So therefore, you always want to start at this point. So while everyone's watching today, whether you are watching me live on social media or whether you're in our Zoom call, what I want you to do right now is think about, what's your purpose? Why are you creating this content? Are you using this content to teach? Are you teaching something complicated? Do you want to use video to express your opinions and share with people? Do you want to address common questions, whether you want to address them in a pre-recorded format or maybe do it in real time? Are you trying to be accessible, meaning making sure that people understand who you are and what you do so they can see your style, your flair, whether it's you cooking in your kitchen, whether you build tables and you're going to show people how you do it, whether you're just even featuring your product? Is it the idea that instead of you being this person behind the brand that people don't see, by putting a camera in front of you, it gives you more, not just visibility, but gives your customers more exposure to who you are and what you do? And then ultimately, are you looking at this as just a reach opportunity, a way to collaborate, maybe do interviews, maybe work with other people in your industry, or collaborate across kind of creative lines? So I'm going to ask everyone, while you're watching this, jump into the chat, jump into any of the comment sections and let me know what's your reasoning for using video, or what you hope to do with it. Because I want to make sure, as I'm guiding you through this process today on how to create it easy, how to make the process easy, and also how to make it unique, we can apply it to what you're trying to do. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys some time to do that. And I'm going to keep rolling in the slides, and then I'll come back to the chat, and then we'll talk a little bit about your purpose. All right. Now, the next thing I want you to think about is, when you know your purpose, when it comes to creating video for social media, I want you to build a plan. Where I find most people struggle with creating video is they kind of jump right into it. They just say, I'm going to create a video today, and they just kind of try to get started. And what I want you to do is think about video more strategically. Think about video from the standpoint that this is going to be a medium that you're going to use over and over. So this is going to be something that you're going to be doing series of videos, or doing more than one video, or doing video on a weekly basis, or doing a 10-part series. And when we start to understand that kind of approach that you're going to be taking to video, then what you need to do is start to answer some key questions and start to build a basic plan. And this is what I would consider a basic plan for any of the video that you're creating. And the first thing you want to think about for your video is, what location are you going to do your videos in? Now, I know that kind of sounds very basic, but the reason I bring this up is, depending on your location, that will dictate what kind of equipment you need. Because if you're going to shoot a lot of your videos outside, then lighting is not a huge challenge for you. Lighting may not be a big issue, and you may not have maybe barriers as far as equipment when it comes to lighting if you're going to be shooting outside. If you're going to be shooting inside, what I want you to do is pick a specific location, pick a specific place. Because where most of us struggle when it comes to video, and especially creating video on a consistent basis, is that we are almost like, it takes us like 20 minutes, an hour to set up every time for video. We're almost trying to figure out how to get the right shot and how to get into the shot. And if you can pick a specific place that you will do your videos, we can prepare in advance and make sure the equipment fits that location. We can make sure that when we're thinking about lighting, we understand that, hey, we need to make some changes maybe to the light bulbs, even in your overhead lighting, because we're going to try to use existing equipment to get there. And what you can do is make this specific place almost your home. And that specific place may be a little nook or a closet. It may just be a corner, or it might be a certain section in your kitchen if you're doing your videos. It's so important that you know what that location is first, so that we can build a comprehensive strategy around it. Does everyone have a location? Just curious, people who are watching right now, do you have like your location? And it can be like one or two locations. I wouldn't do more than that, because I think it's so important that you have that set up, because that's going to make creating videos, updating videos, it's just going to make it so much easier. So let me know in the comments if you are like, yep, Stephanie, I have a location. Or if in today's session, you're like, oh yeah, Stephanie, that might be something I need to think about. All right, perfect. Oh, Karen, thanks so much. So glad you joined us. The next thing is, I want you to think about equipment. Now, the reason I bring this up as equipment and I put existing only is, one thing I want everyone to do is build your videos with what you have today. Sometimes what happens is, especially when you get on YouTube, it gets exciting. You see all the little gadgets that everyone's using, and it's so tempting to say, I need to buy that gadget and this gadget and that gadget. And the reality is, when you're getting started, you really should use what you have on hand. Now, many of us are going to have, headphones. I thought I had my headphones in here, but no, when I worked out this morning, I didn't bring them back in here. If you have headphones, especially that come with your phone, you'll be able to do Instagram live videos with a cell phone, basically, and with headphones. I have the headphones that are the wireless headphones. So, there's my little ear thing. I don't have the casing, but these are my little wireless headphones. So therefore, this is what I have existing. I bought this because I use it for working out. And therefore, now it has a second purpose for doing my live videos. And that way you can use existing materials to do your video. If you happen to have a tablet, use your tablet for your videos. If you have a camera on your computer, use your camera. Is it the best quality camera? It may not be. But for most of us, we update our phones much faster than we update our laptops or our desktops. So I tell a lot of people, use your phone for a lot of your video recording, because that will often be a very good camera that you have. And in many cases, especially the new iPhones, the new Samsung phones and so forth, many of them shoot in such high quality. I mean, you can get 4K quality video out of these. You don't have to have a fancy camera to do it. All right. The other thing I want you to think about is what type of editing you're going to be doing. Editing is a tough thing to think about when you think about video. A lot of us see other people's videos, and what we forget is when you look at someone's video, one thing I want you to do, almost any person that you've ever followed, any person that you love their videos, any person that you're like, I want my videos to look like that. I want you to go to their YouTube channel, and I want you to go all the way back to like their first couple of videos. And if you do that, many of you will be so surprised to see that they're using webcams, they're using cell phones. Many of them, maybe the sound and the lighting wasn't perfect in the beginning. And what they allowed themselves to do is work their way up to those higher qualities. And what I want you to do is do the same. I don't want you to think you have to start with a highly edited video that's splashing in and words are popping on the page and things are moving around. Remember, people are showing up for your content. So make your content golden and then increase your editing over time. So in the beginning, I want you to do things more like trimming things down. I want you to do videos in one take instead of having to put like 5 videos together and edit it together. I want you to do creative things around intros and outros as opposed to trying to make the video content in the middle have a lot of B-roll footage and so forth. The reason being is it just takes so much time. And what you're then doing is creating this like masterpiece instead of getting content out in a quick fashion. And therefore, if you can sit down and say, all right, I'm going to shoot X amount of videos, 2-minute videos, 1-minute videos, 5-minute videos, 60-second videos for Instagram as an example. And when I do my videos, I'm going to do them in one take. I'm going to add an intro and an outro. I'm going to put a banner on the top. And when you make that strategic decision as far as your plan, it makes it easier for you to do your videos moving forward because you're not building them like masterpieces of art every time. You're building them in a more templated format, which will allow you to get them done quickly. They will allow people to recognize your videos because they'll have a signature look to them. And what it'll allow you to do is spend less time behind the scenes getting that video out, and therefore you'll be able to create more content. All right. And we'll talk about some more things about editing and trimming as we get later on in the presentation. All right. Quick question about how long. Hey, Pearl. Oh my goodness, it's good to see you. And Sam, it's always good to see you. It really depends. There's a quick question that came up about how long videos should be. So it really depends on how you're using that video. Now, when we talk about in social media, there's a couple of different ways that we can think about timing. Instagram, when you're posting to the feed, those posts need to be 60 seconds. So therefore, it has a predetermined set for you. And therefore, most of those videos are going to do well in more of a square format. So some of this is going to really be driven by the platform that you're using. As a general rule, when you go into other platforms like Facebook, even in LinkedIn, normally shorter, concise, tight videos, especially if you're putting them in the feed, are going to be fairly short. They're going to be 1-minute videos, 2-minute videos, especially something that's going to be a promo type video. And promo can be a promo video to promote a product or service, or it can be a promo video to promote a podcast, to promote a blog post, or promote a vlog. If it's something like that, normally 1.5-minute, 2-minute videos. Your longer videos go into what we call explainer videos. When you're starting to explain a product in a little bit more detail, when you're starting to help people kind of break down ingredients in a product, break down your approach, your philosophy, then you can go into longer format videos. This is when you're going to start to see anywhere from 3 to 5-minute videos. Those are going to be your traditional videos that you see in social media that are pre-recorded. Then I would probably say there's another segment of videos. These are videos that are going to be live videos. Live videos tend to be longer videos. 10 minutes, I would say, is the shortest that a live video should be. Most live videos are going to be about 20, 30 minutes, all the way up to an hour. Going over an hour is a little bit risky because it's hard to keep people's attention that long. And depending on what you're doing, it really has to dictate these longer sessions. If you're doing something together, It may mean doing something a little bit longer, like my husband buys sneakers online. So often what people will do is they'll do live sessions where they're buying the sneakers together online. They're talking about the experience when things are dropping. Maybe people are watching a video online that's being released. Someone may sit online a little bit longer, but as a general rule, your live sessions are going to be 10 minutes at the shortest, 1 hour at the longest. And then when you go into YouTube, YouTube is a little bit a different approach. Even though sometimes it's aligned with social media channels, it really is a different type of offering that YouTube likes longer videos. So YouTube videos, when you're traditionally uploading them, you're going to be around 15 minutes up to about an hour. 30 minutes is a nice sweet spot that I find for a lot of the videos, but the reality is it depends on your topic, it depends on your audience, and it depends on the platform. So hopefully, Pearl, I answered that question for you. All right. So next thing, let's talk a little bit about live versus pre-recorded. Now, how many people are terrified by going live? Let me know in the comments if you're like, oh goodness, Stephanie, live, please, please, please don't ask me to do it. And then let me know how many of you feel like I could do live. I would feel pretty good with going live, if I had some practice. Just let me know in the comments. The reason I bring this up is it's really important when you build your plan to make this decision up front. Where are you going to start? What I find is too many people try to build out their video strategy by doing everything at once. So they're doing live, they're doing pre-recorded, they're editing a lot, they're doing indoor, they're doing outdoor, they're doing multiple locations. And what happens is you're complicating your video approach and strategy. And what I want you to do is simplify it in the beginning. I want you to really get good at doing something specific really well and without ease and without stress. So therefore, one of my biggest recommendations is to make a decision on, are you going to go live or are you going to do pre-recorded? Now, I prefer live. I feel like it's a little bit easier to create. I feel like it has some interactive features, just like we're doing today, which I think is really fun. And I also find it cuts out a lot of that editing, trimming, that extra work afterwards. Once I hit the stop button, I'm kind of done, which I absolutely love. So we'll talk a little bit more about it in a few minutes, but I definitely am curious. Good, London. I'm glad to hear that you're comfortable with live. Oh, Pearl, I'm glad I answered your question. Perfect. Yes. So I can understand live can make anyone nervous. And what we'll talk about a little bit later is if you prefer to go live, one thing you can do is you can go live with someone else. So interviewing people, doing panels, it's a great way to sometimes help with those butterflies. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So if you're creating your plan, I want you to decide, are you going live or are you going pre-recorded? Okay. The next thing I want you to do is start with one platform. So if you're doing video and you're doing pre-recorded, pick the platform that you're doing your pre-recorded videos for. Create them for YouTube if that's going to be your primary channel. It doesn't mean that you're not going to multi-purpose this content. It doesn't mean you're not going to use it other places later. It doesn't mean that it's lost because I'm just doing one platform, but I need video everywhere. Eventually you will expand. Eventually, we'll be able to edit videos down or take snippets of your YouTube videos and use them in social media. But I need you to get started. So if you're struggling, you're trying to get started, trying to be consistent with your videos, start with one platform, post there, and do it for anything, like I kind of say in the next bullet point, do 15 sessions, 30 sessions, make that commitment to it so you can find your flow in your rhythm. And then as you find your flow in rhythm, you can convert that to doing other platforms. Or what I like to do is I like to simulcast. I like to repurpose. So I like to take videos that maybe I create in this live format and use it in another way. Or like I do today is I'm doing a live session right now, but we're broadcasting to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Pinterest, which gets us on Twitter, and I'm in Zoom. So therefore, from a coverage standpoint, now I'm able to reach a lot of people with one piece of effort. All right. So what do you guys think about this plan? Does everyone feel like, how many people feel like they already have their plan together? And how many people feel like this document is something you can use after this session today to finalize your plan, to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to use this equipment. I'm going to use that lamp in the guest room, bring it into my office, bring it into the kitchen, and I'm going to use that for my lighting. I'm going to go live. I'm going to do 15 sessions. I'm going to use Facebook. I'm going to do light editing and only trimming, and my location's going to be this. Do you guys feel like you can put together this plan? Perfect. Love to hear it's giving you some direction. This is so important. And I write this down. Write down your plan. You'll get access to this video. We'll do it as a replay. It'll be on our website so you can grab it. Or if you need to take a picture of the screen right now, grab your phones and take your pictures, because this is really, I find, the best starting point. Because once you have this down, then we can add these unique factors on top of it. Then we can add some of these fun things on top of it, because getting the basic things done don't feel as complicated. Sound good? Perfect. Yeah, good. Thanks, London. Glad to hear that. Hey, Pearl. Glad to hear that that's been helpful. Okay. All right. Let's move to the next slide. Let's talk about making things unique. All right. So now that we know the basic, now that you have a plan, now that you know what you want to do, now we want to dig a little bit deeper and say, well, how do I make them unique and different? How do I give things a different flair or a different focus or a different feel? And one way of doing that is giving the types of sessions you do variety. Now, this can be done in a live format or pre-recorded format. Hey, Dennis, what did you mean? Where's the JEDIT document? You mean, where is this? This is in the super secret vault. No, you'll be able to see the slides, and I'll put everything online, so you'll be able to get access to it. Okay. Okay. So as far as types of sessions, one thing I want everyone to do is think about the types of sessions you can do. So even if you're doing one video a week, even if you're doing 3 videos a month, even if you're doing that 15 or 30 sessions that we talked about before of making that commitment, break down those into a type of session. Now, I like to have multiple session types. And the reason I like that is because it allows me to have some diversity to my format. So me personally, I go live on Tuesdays as interviews, and on Wednesday, I go live with me direct to the camera. This allows me to have 2 different types of formats on 2 different types of days. And it allows me to kind of get better at interviewing, get better at talking directly to the screen. Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Dennis, if you're on the phone, you can swipe to, I think it's the right. It might be right or left. And then you should be able to see the slides. Okay. So I would highly recommend thinking about a format. If you are nervous about going live, if you're trying to get comfortable with going live, one thing I highly recommend is doing interviews or panels. Because what happens is there's other people there to help fill the space, to help fill the void. And also it can make it more conversational instead of like right now. I'm kind of just talking to the screen, talking to you guys, but it can feel different when it's just you talking, you on the microphone, and everyone else is literally behind the scenes. They're just chatting. So when you have panels, what you're able to do is ask a question of someone else. Someone else can say something, and that may inspire you to ask another question. Most of your social media platforms will allow you to bring in guests. Instagram is really easy to bring in guests to. Or what you can use is third-party tools like StreamYard to allow you to have guests and have panels. I also love mixing things up. So like I mentioned earlier, I do interviews on Tuesday. I normally do direct to camera on Wednesdays, but once a month I do Webinar Wednesday. And for that 1 week a month, instead of doing my traditional, just direct to camera, me talking, I switch into mode number 3 on this page, which is this webinar training teaching mode. So I'm able to cover kind of all 3 of these session types within a month based on the schedule that I put together. Now, if you're just getting started, don't try to do it all. meaning I just did interviews in the beginning. Then I went direct to camera. Then I added the webinars to the mix. And now actually I think I'm doing my first panel next month. So I say that to say that this isn't something I built, in one day. I didn't stress myself out and try to do it all. I picked one session type, did that for a while, felt comfortable with it, and added. Now, if you're already doing video, then what I would do is add another session type as a way to diversify, make your content unique, and also give people different versions of you in different styles. What do you guys think? How many people would use session type 1? Just type in 1 in the comments. How many people would use session type 2? And how many people are thinking about session type 3? Or if you're thinking about a combination, just put the combination of 1, 2, or 3 in the comments for me. While you guys are typing that in, I'm going to talk about the next way that you can make your videos a little bit unique, a little bit different, and do it in a way that shouldn't take you hours and hours to do. All right. So video editing, to me, this is the thing that kept me from doing a lot of editing. This kept me, London, I love that you're doing all of them. Just 2 number now, right now. Yep, Karen. But Karen, you're doing such an amazing job. I don't know if everyone knows, Karen's been going live on Facebook, in her kitchen, and Karen has really done an amazing, amazing job of doing live sessions and doing them consistently. I think, Karen, did you say that you were going to do 50 or 40 or 50? I can't remember the exact number of live sessions, but I love that goal. Yes, Karen said she's doing 50. So I'm just mentioning that not only because I'm just super proud of Karen and Karen's accomplishment, but also the idea that it's great to set a goal like this when you're creating video content, because your first 2, 3, or 4, you're just getting into it. When you get into 10, 20, 30, 40, you get into those bigger numbers, you really get a good understanding of what you're doing and how it's all working. Okay? All right. Let's talk about video editing. Now, there's a couple of ways to do video editing. Number 1, way to make your things unique, to make things standardized. And I know standard and unique sounds strange, but remember, it's your uniqueness, and standardizing your uniqueness is making sure you have a standard way you edit your videos, a standard way that you put text in your videos, the font that you put in your videos, the logos, the banners. Coming up with that standardized approach really can make your video stand out, because people will almost know it's your video by just how you're editing them. Now, remember, I don't want you spending 50 hours on editing your videos. I want you to come up with a standard. But what I find is one of the best ways to edit video is to edit video where you take it. So if you're using your cell phone, any of you out there, how many people are using their cell phone are going to use their cell phone as their camera, at least to get started, or you could be using your laptop. But I love, love, love using a cell phone for a couple of reasons. Most of your cell phones have editing software. And what I used to do is shoot on my phone, send it to my computer, and then try to edit it. But what's happening is the apps are getting better and better, where even in an iPhone, Apple has their own native editing software. So you can trim videos, you can crop videos, you can do all of that in your phone. And I bring that up because if you're using your phone, creating the videos, instead of spending hours trying to translate everything over to like iMovie on a Mac, or sending something into Camtasia, or sending something in a totally different platform, what I'd rather you do is shoot it on your phone, edit it on your phone, trim it on your phone, so that video is ready to go, and you can either post it or save it for a later date if you're going to schedule it on your social media. This is a tip that helps your editing get faster, because you don't have to send the video to multiple platforms. You can do all of your recording and editing in one place. The other thing you can do is you can do it on a tablet. I'm getting better and better at actually trying to do some editing on a tablet. I just got a tablet so I can start doing it now. And using things like the actual devices, or using a separate device for editing versus using your desktop computer, can sometimes be really helpful. And the reason I bring that up is, like I mentioned before, our phones, our tablets, those sometimes get updated much faster because they're just not as expensive as devices, or we're just in the habit of updating them, or, T-Mobile, AT&T, they have a great deal and it's easy for us to update on our phones. But our desktop computers, maybe our laptop computers, we don't update as often. Like my computer I'm talking to you on now is about 7 years old. So it can't do the editing like it used to. It's really just slowing down. The software is so much heavier for it. And therefore, what I'm finding is I can edit faster on my phone, definitely faster on this tablet because I just got it, than I can do it on my computer. So take a look at that. Think about where you're recording and does it make sense to do the editing where you're recording to help you move along faster. The apps I like to use is InShot if I'm using mobile device. We also have a browser editor, meaning software that we use called Wave Video that we do some of our editing on. And then LumaFusion is what I'm using on my tablet. Now, can you use Final Cut Pro? Absolutely. Can you use iMovie? Absolutely. Find the platform or the tool that works for you. I just wanted to give you 3 different options because some of you may want to edit on your phone. Some of you may want to edit on your tablet, and some of you may want to upload the videos into a browser and edit. And I wanted to at least give you 3 different options and ways that you can do it. And when we jump back into our Zoom session, and my Zoom folks, I'll walk you through and show you some of these actual tools on the fly. Okay? All right, let's go to our next item. The next thing to think about when you're trying to make your videos unique, especially if you do live sessions, is to do countdown timers. Countdown timers are great. We've started to play around with them. This is an example of one of the ones that we've built. Countdown timers are normally what you're going to play when you start going live. So instead of you just coming in live, what happens is you play the countdown timer. It's just a video, really. You play that first. It goes for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, max 90 seconds. And the reason people use this technique, number one, it helps kind of give your videos a kind of starting point. It gives it a certain feel for people. It gives it a way that your videos can have a very common approach. And sometimes it can be fun, depending on your personality, depending on your brand. You can create these so they really reflect, you and your personality and style. And what's also nice about this is when you go live, it takes a minute for people to show up. It takes a minute for people to see the notices, click on them, the software to open, and they get there. And by having a countdown timer, it gives people that time so they don't miss the beginning of your content. So therefore, this is a great tool and great technique to prep people, get people in the queue, get people ready for your live sessions, and a great way to make them unique. I do recommend coming up with kind of a standard design and approach, and then adding things like logos and music. I'm going to try to play it here, but I don't know if it's going to play. So this is our standard for our Spark sessions. This is the sessions I normally do on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. This is just a really simple and basic one we started with, but having something like that, and this is just I think that's the 15-second version, can be a really cool thing for you to add to your live sessions as a great way to start them all off, have videos pop in and out and photos and so forth. What do you guys think? Anyone already doing countdown timers or anyone excited about or considering doing countdown timers after I just showed you that technique? Oh, and creating countdown timers, you can create them in really any software format. You can create them in Canva. You can create them through using things like Keynote and so forth. Okay. The other technique I like to use in video is making video different. Instead of it all just being direct to camera, is doing a screen share type session. I use a tool called Loom to do this, but you can definitely use other software as well. And what it does is it kind of superimposes you on the screen. You can probably see with my crazy expression there on the kind of top left corner is me walking people through our website. We were doing an announcement. I wanted to show people how to use the new website, how to navigate the new website, how it's different than our old website. And instead of just typing it in the comments, I thought it would be nice to do a video where I'm talking over it. People can literally see me, and then I can click on the site and move around. The other thing that we did is we did two versions of this video. So I did one on mobile and I did one on desktop. And therefore, when we published those videos on social media, on Instagram, I published the mobile version of the website walkthrough. And on things like LinkedIn and Facebook, I published the desktop walkthrough of the website announcement so that it was similar to the format or the platform that they were actually using. And I love this because it's a very easy way to kind of take something that would be a static walkthrough if you were showing a website, if you were walking through slides or you were explaining something, and it adds a little bit of a personal touch by having your video, your voice, and you kind of superimposed on top. Loom has a free option. I think if it's a 5-minute video or less, it's free. And then it has a paid option as well. I also love this for teaching. Karen asked a question. She talked about reusing a video. If you're going to reuse that video, would you edit out the timer? So here's my thing about countdown timers. If I reuse a video, say for example, I'm going to take a video that's on Facebook and I'm going to put it on YouTube, then yes, I would edit out the actual timer or the countdown timer. But what I would do is you can edit that video in YouTube because YouTube will allow you to do trimming. So when we say editing, a lot of times I think sometimes when we talk about editing, it's easy to think of it more as like the complicated process. And what I recommend for a lot of people is using trimming because it's a lot easier to do. You're just basically taking the brackets and moving it in. And that's what I would do is I'd upload the video to YouTube, trim it down, and then save the trimmed video into YouTube so that you could quickly repurpose a video that was live on Facebook one day and then the next day published onto YouTube. Does that answer your question, Karen? All right. The next thing I want to think about is when you're thinking about unique content is think about intros and outros. Now, literally what these are, and this happens mostly in pre-recorded video. That countdown timer that we talked about is, I guess, an example of an intro, but they're traditionally more for live. Now, when we talk about recorded, having that intro and outro is really key in making your videos unique and different. And for a lot of people, when they see it, it looks like it's a really complicated and dynamic process. But the reality is you can create an intro and an outro with Keynote and PowerPoint. You can use Canva. They have animated slides, and you can use online video editing tools like InVideo and Wave. Now, I bring this up because many of us have made presentations in like our corporate life. And in your corporate life, any of you have had these, when you make presentations, there's that transition slide, when words can slide in or video or photos can slide in, video photos can resolve, things can move around. All you have to do is create almost like a presentation, but a short one, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, not anything big. Your logo can just spin and move. If any of you were here at the beginning of the presentation, what you might have noticed at the beginning of my presentation, I start with a blue screen and then the white Vegan Mainstream Webinars comes in and then the title of the slide slides in. Actually, I'm going to show you guys. Let me see if I can go back fast. All right, so this is how my slides start. This is done in Keynote. So this is an example of how you could use something like this as an intro that's literally just going from a blank screen to a logo coming in, to another logo coming in, into a title. And this is what I mean when you are building out your videos. You can create something like this in a document just like this in Keynote. I use Keynote because I'm on a Mac. You can do the same thing in PowerPoint. All right. How many people do you already have your intros and outros? I'm just curious. I'm going to play an example of one that we created for ours. And I want to bring this up because I want to show you like a 6-second one. Really easy, really simple. Because I know sometimes when I teach these things, it sounds like this should be like a 5-hour project. And sometimes when you're getting started, start with something simple. This is an example of one of ours. And that's it. It's just 5,000. Excuse me, 5,000. It's just 5 seconds. And this is one of our outros that we're starting to put on some of our videos, especially when we create video content and we're featuring other vegan business owners, businesses, and stories. Okay. What do you guys think? How many people feel like you might do an intro or outro, especially if you could make it in Canva or use your Keynote or PowerPoint skills? What do you guys think? Okay. So the question is, what do you do with an intro or outro? How do you add those together? If you're doing a recorded video, you can add a intro in YouTube. YouTube will allow you to do it, or you can add it as part of your editing process. So if you're editing, whether it's iMovie, InShot, it doesn't matter what tool that you use, you just take that intro file, and an intro file is literally just a video, and it's literally putting 2 videos together so that you can do it. YouTube has some unique features where they have things called in cards that'll allow you to kind of act like an outro. So therefore you can use the native pieces in YouTube to mimic this, or you can edit your video outside. And when I say editing, it's not slicing it together. It's literally just, as they kind of say, butting the 2 videos up together, and then you render those videos together. All right, perfect. But yes, coming up with a standard intro and outro, I find is such a good way to make your videos unique. And then the other thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to give it a try today, especially when we get into our Zoom session to show you guys, is that you can make a tablet an interactive session. And what I mean by that is, for many of our tablets these days, you could draw on them. You can put lines on them. You can kind of, write out boxes and show people the things that you're working on and the things that you're doing. And because we can always bring like a second guest in, or you can bring another person in, what you do is you treat your tablet like another person joining. So if you're in a Zoom session, you can have you can have your tablet join as a second camera, as an example. If you're going to be live streaming, what you can do is use your tablet as a second person and then have a share screen option for that tablet. Now, you can also hardwire the tablet into your computer, a little bit longer process for you to do it as well. But what I love being able to do with the tablet is that when I'm in a session, instead of just showing slides like I am today, when I have something like a tablet connected, I can actually draw on the screen. I can actually do workflows. I can build mind maps together. I can mark up a document. And this way, my sessions can be interactive, they can be unique. And this is something you can do either in a live format, or you can do this in a pre-recorded format. What most people are doing is using a separate device like a tablet to do it. So if you've ever seen, has anyone ever seen that, where someone brings on a document and they're like writing on the screen as they're talking? And let me know in the comments if you guys are seeing that, because the way to do that is literally with a tablet. And you can either use a pencil, you can use your finger, but by having that tablet as a second option, what I love about it is it allows you to be able to write, draw, and make your sessions interactive. All right. So those are the ideas for today. Those are the things that I recommend. Is there more? Absolutely. But the reason I always come up with this list, or I try to come up with a tight list for everyone, is I want these to be things you can do right away. These should be things that you can implement without spending a lot of money, without spending a lot of time, and without feeling like I need a professional or I have to hire someone else to do it. I find setting up some of these key steps can be a great way to make your videos feel a little different, have a little flair, have some branding, and be something that you can do on a consistent basis in social media. If you have that plan, if you add some of those tips and techniques that I recommend so that you can have a unique experience and also be able to produce video quickly and easily and make sure that you're increasing your reach. All right. So with that, anyone have any questions so far? Just let me know in the comments. How to use simulcast. Yes. Okay, let me answer that. If you guys are in our social media platforms, just let me know if you have any other questions. I'll pop those up on the screen and answer them as well. So Karen came up with the question of how do you simulcast? The best way to simulcast is to use third-party software. So there are software out there that will bring together multiple platforms for you. You can either go live on one platform and then use a third-party tool to pull that information from Facebook and send it to the other ones. I find the simplest way to do it and my favorite tool to use is to use StreamYard. Now, the reason I use StreamYard to do it is because StreamYard will allow me to bring in all the platforms at once and control everything in one central location. StreamYard is a third-party tool, so StreamYard is actually a piece of software that you can pay for or you can use for free. Now, the reason I bring this up is StreamYard has a free option. Now, it does put a little logo in the top corner, but I think it's a great way to go live, stream to multiple platforms. Now, actually, I said that wrong. The free version of StreamYard will allow you to go to one platform. The paid version allows you to stream to multiple. So when you're ready, look into or consider investing in things like StreamYard. There's another tool called Restream that will allow you to do it. There's Ecamm that will work with other platforms like Restream to allow you to simulcast. But personally, I find StreamYard is my favorite. It is a little bit costly. I think their plans are around $25 a month or $50 a month, depending on how many streams you want to do. But I really find that that's a great way to take your live streaming to the next level. Okay. Any other questions so far? All right. So what I'm going to do now is my folks that are in Zoom, hang tight for me for a few minutes. I'm going to come back in there and we're going to do some examples. I'm going to just make sure anything you want me to show you, I can show you. Anybody who's joining me in YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have more questions, please let me know. You can always pop them in the comments. It's so great to see everyone's comments here. It's so great to see everyone who joined us today. Sam, it was great to see you as well. London, it was great to see you. Pearl, thank you so much for joining. It's so good to see you as well. So we will connect hopefully at another time. But everyone in Zoom, hang tight for me because I'm going to come over there and show you how I do everything behind the scenes, But everyone who's joined me on social media, thank you so much. And we'll see you hopefully at another Webinar Wednesday. Bye, everyone.